smoking too, sipping and roasting. Yeah, that's what we do. Set 'em up, knock 'em down, make that cherry glow. Whiskey and cigars, the gentleman's cologne.
Cheers, y'all.
Sounds like the beginning of a party, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome, my friends, my neighbors, and my countrymen, and those of you who live in other countries as well. Welcome to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. We're on show number 369. I turn to my partner, Ian, to do the quick math.
I'm adding it up here. If you take it divided by 3 and carry the 2, that is the halfway point to 400.
Very good. We're excited about getting there. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And on today's show, we're going to talk about a number of different things, but specifically, and our title for the episode is The Life Expectancy of the Liquor on Your Shelf.
It depends on how good the liquor is.
You're
I think that has a lot to do with it, really.
Yeah,
The Eagle Rare didn't live there very long, did
I
it?
was just thinking about that. Its life expectancy was not very good. It really wasn't. Oh man, that was just such a great bottle too.
Yeah.
And you know, while an incredible gift, it's not like it was a great bottle because it was super expensive.
No,
It was
it's
a
just
great bottle because
bottle.
it's rare, Eagle Rare. you
Yeah,
know?
it's a little harder. It's allocated. It's just a little hard to get your hands on. But once you do, and it's not a it's a $35 bottle.
Yeah, and at that price,
You know,
it's just
Maybe 40
wildly
something like that.
amazing.
So good, so good.
By the way, speaking of prices of bottles, I was at my favorite Specs this last week, restocking on a few things that I needed. One of which was, as you know, my wife is a big fan of the plantation rum, and as am I as well. And you and I have spent some time talking with our friend Greg Duxakis from Plantation Rum about the fact that we can't believe how affordable some of their amazing rums are.
Yeah, the Isle of Fiji is so outrageous.
I'd like to make a pact with you today that we never do that again.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Isle of Fiji has now gone up. It used to be $26.99. It is now $30.99.
Ooh.
And at that price, by the way, I am still
good.
happy to buy it. But we must stop telling docs that we can't believe how affordable their rums are.
Never again.
Never again will we do that. So, and maybe, you know, it's one of those things like, you ever like discover something that's really, really good and really well priced, and you almost don't want to tell anybody else,
Right.
Because you're afraid they'll buy it all out, and then you won't be able to find it. That's kind of how I feel about. I feel like we were responsible for that rate hike in Plantation Isle of
It
Fiji.
had to be,
Had to be us.
And now they're changing their name, too.
Yeah, that's true. So, docs, if you're listening, don't listen to us anymore.
Yes.
Not that you probably
Disregard
did,
what we
but
say.
don't listen to us anymore. Anyway, we'll talk about the life expectancy of the liquor on your shelf on today's program. We'll do some interesting tastings, including our mystery beverage, which we're changing the name of that segment. I'll get to that in a minute. But we'll also be tasting some what I think are going to be very interesting beers from Paradigm Brewing Company in Tomball, Texas, right up the street from us here.
Paradigm's been crushing it.
We'll be trying their Moro, M-O-R-O, which sounds like someplace the Hobbit would go. Moro Pilsner with blood orange flavor.
Ooh.
Now, we've had from Revolver Brewing
Their blood
their
orange.
blood orange,
honey,
but I
yeah.
believe it's not a Pilsner. I believe it's an ale. So
Right,
this will be
well, the blood
interesting.
and honey ale, was the raw roll one.
So this will be very interesting.
They
to,
also had a coconut pilsner as well.
Yeah.
Paradigm does.
At Paradigm, yeah. Yeah, so this will be interesting. I'm looking forward to this one. From a brewery that's kind of a go-to for us when we're looking for something a little offbeat and interesting, Prairie Artisan Ales out of McAlester, Oklahoma. A lot of times we try their stouts and their porters, and today we'll be trying something called Lemon Slice. It's a sour ale with lemon zest, lemon juice, and vanilla.
You remember a month or so ago we had that Super Pistache Brothers?
Yes, that was so good.
I bought another one.
Yeah.
and another one.
And it's
They're
just
so
as good. Right?
expensive.
Yeah.
And they're so good.
I
So
know
amazing.
it really is. Well, we haven't had a sour on the show in a long time, so
That's
I thought
true.
this
That's true.
would be fun to do. And I know there are people who will never drink sours, but there are some fans that like it, so we should address that every
I'm
once in
a
a while.
sour ale fan.
Yeah, yeah. And then from Sierra Nevada, their 2024 Bigfoot.
Ooh.
It is a Barleywine-Style ale from Sierra Nevada.
It's an
And-
American style barley wine. I'm not always a fan.
I don't know for sure. We'll have to taste it to see.
We'll see.
I think I want to say we've had some of the previous year iterations of Bigfoot. So we'll have to taste it and see. But the one thing that I will ask you to remember when we get to that is this is not a barley wine that I paid, upwards of $40 for in a one bottle, the way that is sometimes the case. This is a barley wine you can buy a 6-pack of, and I think it's still around $20, but that's still not.
Yeah, but it's a much
That's
bigger
for
beer
the
as
6-pack,
well.
right? Yeah. So anyway, we'll get to all of that. We will be bringing you today a special drinking news report. Where are, and we'll tell you, the drunkest fans in the NFL? Super Bowl was this last month, and it does kind of make you wonder what state or what team has the drunkest fans in the NFL. Apparently, someone has done an investigation, and we'll be sharing that with you on the program today.
Nice.
And then, of course, we'll be bringing you today's episode of Drinking News, our most popular feature on the program for completely unexplainable reasons. And today's Drinking News teaser headline for you is "Doing crime where the sun don't shine." So we'll get to that. When we get a laugh out of just the teaser headline, I figure it's going to be a pretty good Drinking News.
Sometimes I can get an idea from the headline, but this one I'm really lost on.
I
I
figured you guys were just tickled by the sound of the new strings on my.
Yeah, it sounds pretty
Yes.
good. And I'll just say, Terry, you being lost on this one is a really good thing. You'll see what I mean once we get to today's Drinking News. So that's something I know about that you guys don't. And there's one other thing that I know about that you guys don't. And that is what we've been calling the mystery beverage. But as of today, on show number 369 of Smokin' and Toastin', we're officially renaming the mystery bev to the beverage of mystery. Just because it sounds cooler and sounds like, we were talking about this before the show, sounds kind of like a Scooby-Doo episode, like Scooby-Doo and the beverage of mystery, right?
And the beverage of mystery.
Yeah. So the mystery beverage, or now the beverage of mystery, is where we bring one of us will
bomb,
bring,
for sure.
One of us will bring on a beverage that we're the only one who knows what it is. So we kind of taste it sight unseen, or the others taste it sight unseen, and we make our judgments about it and our predictions about it as we're prone to do on any of the beverages, but this time without knowing what it actually is. And then there will be the reveal where we tell you what the mystery beverage, or now the beverage of mystery, actually is. I like beverage of mystery.
I'm just going to keep calling it the bomb.
The
until it sticks.
beverage of mystery.
I don't know whether this will be the bomb or
this
not.
Smells
Now,
like
have to try.
Coca-Cola.
No, you know what it smells like? I have it smells exactly like bottle caps, the candy, the root beer, the root beer version of bottle cap. That's exactly what it smells like.
I don't know if anyone under
I get the cola smell right off the top.
I don't know if anyone under 30 knows what bottle caps even are. I mean, is that still a thing?
Yeah, they're still out there. Yeah,
okay.
they're still in the store.
Definitely root
Yeah.
beer.
It's
This must be like a hard root beer.
bottle caps root beer. Wow.
It does have a distinct root beer flavor. to
Yeah, it
doesn't
does. I mean, the flavor
This is not bad.
no, it's not. It's
I
not
don't get
off-putting.
an awkward aftertaste.
Mm-hmm.
I get basically just a little bit. It's like a watered down. It's like you had a root beer from a fountain and then you let the ice melt in it a little too much.
Yeah.
Do you get? Yeah, it is a little diluted.
It's a little watered down. Yeah.
Do you get any alcohol in this at all?
When you said that, I got just a hint, but you don't taste it much. I mean, I got on the back end, I got just a hint of something, but not.
Maybe there's a slight bitter on the back end, but not in a bad way. Really, this is actually pretty drinkable.
Well, let me reveal to you the big reveal for the beverage of mystery. You gentlemen are drinking Kraken and Cola from a can.
Cola.
So I was
No root beer in.
Right. It's actually cola, and now when you taste it, you'll kind of get the cola.
So I smelled cola first, and then you guys kept saying root beer, and then I tasted root beer.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I smelled root beer.
So
you know what it is, though? I bet it's the spice in the rum plus the cola making it taste more like a
yes.
root
I will
beer
just
to me.
mention that we're big fans of rum at my house, and for a very long time, the sort of daily go-to was Kraken spiced rum. It's pretty good,
Kraken and Dr.
all by
Pepper
himself. Well, and that's the thing.
It's magical.
Kraken and Dr. Pepper, or even Diet Dr. Pepper, is wonderful. However, even though this can is 5% alcohol by volume, the thing this is missing to me is when I made Kraken and Diet Dr. Pepper, there was a whole lot more Kraken involved.
Yeah,
and a whole lot less of the soda. But I will say, I recall very fondly one weekend where we drank Kraken and Diet Dr. Pepper like all weekend. I recall it fondly, but I don't recall a lot about it. That's what I'm saying. It was just, but no, it's a lot of fun, and this makes me want to go back and do it because I haven't had Kraken and Dr. Pepper in a while. But rum and cola is a very kind of normal drink, and this is spiced rum and cola. I would just go for a lot more rum and a lot less cola, which I understand would make it more expensive. Yeah. These come in a 4-pack, I think. So.
Okay. How much is a 4-pack?
This is drinkable, though. This tastes okay.
4-pack is like $8 or $11, something like that.
That's this is something that if I was on the go somewhere and I was out somewhere and I wanted to take some drinks in the cooler or something, I mean, I could see this being one because it's not bad for if you're on the go.
Also it's not sickly sweet.
Yeah,
right.
no,
it's not so sweet that you're like,
it's not any sweeter than a cola.
Yes.
Yeah, would be.
Yes. It's actually a little less, I think, because it's a little watered down. Yeah. And I actually prefer this overall, I think.
I would say that if I were at, somebody's backyard barbecue, and saw this in the ice and it looked super cold.
Yeah, 100%.
I would totally go for one of these.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm kind of digging it, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
kind of digging it.
And coming in at 5%, that's easy to gauge because that's beer percentage.
Right,
So one of these is like one beer.
It's like a Pilsner or a fairly light ale. Right. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a winner.
I would drink this floating down the river.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you had that enormous cigar and some barley wine sitting in the cooler beside you.
I would tell you, this would go pretty darn well with a cigar.
Yeah, I think it would. Well, now I've always thought that just Dr. Pepper itself, or Diet Dr. Pepper, which is what I prefer, goes pretty well with a cigar. And generally speaking, almost all rum goes well with the cigar. So it kind of stands to reason that this would work well with a cigar.
But for canned cocktails, that's one of the best I've tried.
I do want to say good job, Kraken, because this is one of the most drinkable canned cocktails
100%.
that I've had.
Yeah. And we've been trying a lot of them for the beverages of mystery.
Yeah.
And this one kind of rises to the top, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah.
At least to the upper level. Yeah. So, all right, a lot to do on today's show. In addition to sampling the beers that I mentioned. Oh, I didn't get into the spirit, by the way. Look at this baby. This is a Don Camilo.
Now you're getting spiritual on us.
Lovely bottle.
Don Camilo Anejo.
This is a
Tequila.
very austere bottle. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we will be trying that, and I'm looking forward to that. Plus, we did our big show about the top cigars of the year last year, and we never got to one of the lists. So we'll try to get to that today. Plus, the drunkest fans of the NFL, and a little bit of a little bit of a note about some cigars to watch for. Lots to share with you, lots to sample on the program today, and I'm sure Ian's got something very interesting to tell us about in terms of what he had to smoke this week. So we'll get to that when we return. You are watching and listening to Smoking and Toasting. It is show number 369, halfway to 400, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits,
good stuff,
and hand-rolled cigars. We will get to all of those things before the program is done today. But I wanted to just mention that my friend and co-host here, Ian, is a very talented man. I mean, he does a number of things. He builds custom guitars. Mm-hmm. He teaches guitar, and he also plays guitar. Mm-hmm. If you were to rate yourself as a guitarist, Do you think you're pretty good? Do you think you're great? Do you think you're not that great? How would you?
I'm a professional, sir.
Where between Pete Townsend and Keith Richards do you put yourself?
Okay, well, what I'm wondering is, are you a good enough guitar player to get a free beer from a vending machine in New Zealand?
I don't know what that means.
A New Zealand craft brewery has invented a device that awards free beer if it deems a guitarist's skills are good enough. We mentioned this last week, but I never got to the story.
I will break that machine.
Panhead Custom Ales, based in Wellington, New Zealand, has called the custom-made vending machine Slay to Pay. And it uses AI fingerprinting technology to rate guitarists' ability. It's essentially, they say, a souped-up guitar hero for adults. And they told the publication known as The Drinks Business, as far as we know, this is a first-of-its-kind machine with some pretty cool new tech and the best kind of reward for being willing to give it a go.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. Machine is the perfect combination of a couple of our favorite things, of course, cold beer and really loud music. We give it their first run, the company said, at the Panhead Rolling Stone Music Awards. And it turns out it's pretty ruthless. It rejected some of the best guitarists in the country.
Whoa. Wow.
So, yeah, there you go. I would love... See, this is why... maybe the virtual reality headsets and stuff will be able to add to this.
But what is the
interface,
though? Is it an actual guitar?
It's probably one of those like Guitar Hero
if it's
things
like a
or something
Hero
like
guitar,
that.
Let me explain a little thing.
But those are just buttons
that people don't always talk about with the Guitar Hero thing. Because I was teaching guitar through that era of Guitar Hero, and lots of people picked up guitar because they got good at Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
and then they got heartbroken because once they realized that just because you're good at Guitar Hero doesn't make you good at guitar.
Doesn't mean you're going to be good at guitar. Yeah,
it makes you good at Guitar Hero.
Right,
You see what I mean?
exactly,
And practicing Guitar Hero is not like practicing guitar.
No.
But if you win a beer each time, that's pretty good for the company because you got to think by the fourth or fifth time you're playing, you're probably
you're
getting a
not gonna
little
win
worse.
any more
You're
beers,
getting you're getting worse as you're going, probably. So
So Ian, I don't know. Do you think we have time to do your cigar
unless you
review?
have my superpower, where the more I drink,
unless they're Ian.
Yeah, I love that
the less I
superpower.
care what you think about what I play.
I am Guitar Man. Dun, 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 dun.
I picked up a Rocky Patel DBS today.
Oh, nice.
This is the double broadleaf selection from Rocky Patel. I think it's one of their more pricey cigars. Comes in at $20. This is the Robusto coming in 5.5 by 50 ring gauge. Wrapper is Mexican San Andreas. Binder is Nicaraguan, USA, Pennsylvania broadleaf. The filler is Honduras and Nicaragua broadleaf. The appearance on is espresso brown, oily, veiny, rustic, leathery, 2 bands plus a footer. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Rocky's getting really into putting a lot of bands on his
Rocky's bands
cigars.
are beautiful, right? The pre-light sniff on this, rich earth and mocha followed by coffee. Pre-light draw. I used a punch, had a light draw to it. Sweet coffee bomb, fruit cake is what I got on there as well. The initial light, I got a Nicaraguan pepper breeze.
Oh, there you go.
Massive plumes of rich smoke, tangy leather, all coming in on the initial light. The first third of this, sweet raw sugar, coffee, leather, bitter chocolate, all backed by underlying pepper and dark fruit. Retrohales, peppery and sweet with cedar, solid ash, perfect burn. Second third of this, woody and nutty notes, interplay with earthy and spicy flavors as complex as the foundation for the dark fruit, as a complex foundation for the dark fruit and bitter chocolate. Retrohale is sweet cedar, chocolate and pepper, solid ash, perfect burn. The last third on this, sweet, spicy, and complex, a slight savory note and a bit more pepper finish out the experience. Retrohale is sweet cedar, malt, pepper, solid ash, perfect burn. Solid 5 at $20 for
At
price to
$20.
quality. Unbelievable
Wow.
guitar.
All right. We're going to talk more about that when
Cigar,
we come back.
not guitar.
Yes, we'll talk more about that when we come back. It's Smoking the Toast. Welcome back, my friends. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And you were describing the Rocky Patel DBS, which I have also had one of those, and I've only had one, but boy, was it a great smoke.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive, but
every penny of that, $20.
You
It's
know,
a great cigar.
in a time when, you can get really good cigars in the $8 to $12 range, and there are some really spectacular cigars that are between, say, 13 and 20. To really be able to say, this is a $20 cigar and it was worth it.
This goes up on my list with the Plasencia Alma Fuerte. Coming in around the same price point. Everything. This is so good.
And the Andalusian Bull.
Bull, yeah.
It's really good stuff, man.
So good.
Really good stuff. Well, I had one that was not quite that expensive this week, but I want to be able to tell you a little bit about it. I smoked the Room 101 Johnny Tobacconaut Robusto. And Johnny Tobacconaut, as you can see from the band in the pictures that Adam will post up here, Johnny Tobacconaut's a pretty cool looking little astronaut dude, just strutting down the side of the moon or wherever he is. So first of all, I swear to you guys that I did not do this on purpose. I bought this Room 101 cigar from the humidor at Specs in Midtown Houston because I love the little astronaut guy, Johnny Tobacconaut, on the band. And it was from Room 101. I like trying Matt Booth's different blends. And the Johnny Tobacconaut was new to me, so it seemed like a cool idea. Turns out they've put it out before in other blends, but they've been very limited. This is a general release blend of the Johnny Tobacconaut. Anyway, seemed like a cool idea. Once I got ready to smoke it, I went online to find out what kind of tobacco was used in the cigar. It doesn't say, obviously, on the band. And it was then that I saw that Matt Booth, who Ian and I both met, really nice guy, had tapped some guy named AJ Fernandez to do this blend for him. I swear I didn't know. This dude is ubiquitous in the guitar world.
The next time we run into AJ, which has happened before, he's going to be just gravitationally pulled to you.
Oh, I'm going to be pulled to him. It's like
one or the other. Yeah.
It's like I'll be in his orbit like the moon. He's so ubiquitous in the cigar world now that it reminds me of the Roy Kent chant in Ted Lasso. He's here, he's there, he's every effing where. And that's kind of like what it seems like with AJ to me. The Johnny Tobacconaut uses an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper with binder from Mexico, I believe it's San Andres, and an all Nicaraguan fillers. So it appeared, just from its looks, like this might be a little bit on the mild side. Light brown, smooth wrapper, barely visible veins, a well-done cap, pre-light sniff, and the cold draw were grassy with a note of creamy whole milk and a hint of sweetness, not on the lips, but more in the middle of the palate. So I lit it up. And I got a nice sort of a miniature version of a Nicaraguan pepper blast right off the bat, kind of like a mini-me NPB. And as a side note, whatever happened to the whole mini-me trend? Remember that, like back in the 90s and late 90s and early 2000s, where lots of celebrities would have a little person in their camp? Remember that? Vern Troyer was a huge small celebrity after playing Mini-Me in the Austin Powers movies. You may remember that, right? And remember, Kid Rock had that guy Joe C, who was a little person. As a part of his posse, and Joe C would stalk the stage and look tough and hype up the crowd while Kid Rock was performing. Geez, the further I get past the 90s, the more I'm starting to realize that decade kind of sucked too.
But didn't they both pass away?
I think they did.
I think he passed away too. I think that's where they went. Yeah,
I know Vern Troyer
Joe C did too.
Yeah, I think the 90s may have kind of sucked too.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But that's not important right now. So, black pepper. First note after lighting the Johnny Tobacconaut. And the next thing I picked up was almost a toasted marshmallow vibe. Creamy, but with a pleasant little bit of char. And after the Mini-Me NPB, the cigar kind of settled into a sort of mild plus strength, which would gradually build as it smoked. Second third was more mysterious, with flavors intertwining and then sometimes even disappearing before I could fully identify them. Two things grew gradually as I went: the complexity and the strength. By halfway point, I had already pegged it as medium-bodied and was picking up everything from cake batter to toasted almonds, all of which would come and go, only to be replaced by lemon zest or loamy earth or another sort of note. The final third evolved to an almost medium full, maybe just a tick below that. The cigar stayed creamy throughout, even though the pepper remained prominent. Burn was not razor straight, but definitely not a problem. No touch-ups were needed. The best thing I can share about the Johnny Tobacconaut from Matt Booth in Room 101, with a little help from AJ, is that it's really best described as a smoking journey Don't light one of these up while you're playing around to golf or walking the dog. Smoke this one when you can sit down, maybe pair it with a rum or a bourbon, and let the cigar take you on a flavor journey. That sounds a little overly dramatic.
Sorry, I was a little late on that. I should have been like...
Let the cigar take you on a flavor journey.
He looks like he's going on a journey,
That's
right?
Johnny Tobacconaut.
Johnny Tobacconaut
Yeah,
looks
there
like
you
he's
go.
going on a journey.
Yeah, for sure. Well done, guys. The Johnny Tobacconaut Robusto, despite being a little on the small side, is a $9 to $10 cigar. Guess what? It's worth it and more. Price to quality, I will go to a 6.
Wow,
for
nice.
Johnny Tobacconaut. And I will definitely
Price to
be
quality
getting some more
scale
of
is
those.
a scale of 1 to 10 for those of you just joining us, and 5 means you get exactly what you paid for.
Right. So when you give a $20 cigar a 5, like you did earlier,
you're getting a $20 every
wow,
bit.
that
of it.
means you're getting every bit of that money's worth out. This one at its price, even though it's a little small, it smoked for a reasonably long time, and I thought it overperformed its price. So,
That's nice.
So very nice. All right, so let's see how Paradigm Brewing from Tomball, Texas, performs with their Moro. It is a Pilsner with blood orange flavor, and the only thing that scares me about this, and I haven't tried it, is they use the word flavor. If it just said Pilsner with blood orange, I would be like, but flavor worries me a little bit. But I haven't tried it
Without
yet,
the word natural in front of it, that's...
but even High C has 10%
Moro is a
real
winter
fruit
citrus
juice.
forward lager brewed with American 2-row malt and sweet orange peel. This brew is hopped in the with the grapefruit like hop Comet, fermented on 13.2 pounds of blood orange puree per barrel. This crisp, dry, and tart lager will please any palate. Get it while you can.
So at least it's real blood orange.
Yeah.
It's not like they opened up the vat and squirted a bottle of blood orange flavor.
A blood orange shaped plastic
right,
bottle
exactly.
that sits in your fridge. No. So it's interesting because my first sip of this, I didn't know exactly what I was getting into. On the nose, it smells kind of like fruity beer.
Yeah, agreed.
It's not a whole lot on the nose. And I took my first sip and it was a little tart and it took me back a second. Then my second sip, I went, oh, I get it now.
Well,
And
blood
by
orange.
the third sip, I'm really enjoying this actually.
So blood orange, if I'm going to eat an orange, if I'm going to peel and eat an orange, it is definitely not going to be a blood orange. They're too tart. They're too not tart in a lime kind of way, but tart in an almost bitter sort of way.
Almost a grapefruity kind of tartness.
But they do impart a very interesting flavor when used in things, and I get that sort of bitter blood orange on the finish of this for sure. And it's not unpleasant. It's not. This wouldn't be a go-to beer for me, but I sort of like it.
No, this is a nice change. I actually like it. The more sips I take of this, the more I actually like the beer. It's an interesting thing because
A lot of beers are like that.
I was like, well, I wasn't sure.
No, it's good.
The beers are like that from the guitar vending machine too. The more of them you have, not only the more do you like them, but the better you play.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's kind of like one of those apps that you buy, and you're like or that you don't buy, that you download for free from the App Store, and it's a game, and you're breezing through it. And you're like, this is so much fun. Oh, now I gotta add coins to my stash if I'm gonna play any further. Now I gotta buy a game I wouldn't have bought at $9.99. Now I gotta buy $9.99 worth of
That's right.
coins to keep playing. So,
Or you plateau.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I enjoy this as a change up, and I really want to say hats off to Paradigm for being bold enough to do this,
Yes.
because this is not a sort of a mainstream. This is definitely one that rounds out
It
their
seems like-
portfolio.
It seems like what they're doing though, after seeing some of their beers coming out, is that they're taking their lager and they're trying, or lager Pilsner style beers, and they're trying to do some different things, just give them some flavors and have a little fun with them.
Right, which is really interesting because you find that happens a lot more to ales than it does to lagers and pilsners. So it's nice to see them getting this creative, you know?
So they make a coconut version. It's a Pilsner or lager with coconut. I actually like that one a little better than I like this one. This one's nice. And like I said, it took a minute to kind of get it. And once I get it, I like it. But I don't know that I reach for this one a whole bunch, but I do like the coconut one. And I love that they try different things.
Absolutely.
I'm sure someone else out there is going to absolutely love this too.
This is one of those beers that if I were at the brewery, it would look really interesting, and I would order one, and I would really enjoy it. But then I would order something else.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But those beers need to be around too.
Like, but I love that for the experience of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about the shelf life of liquor. Obviously, liquor doesn't last long on the shelf if it's something that we really, really love. But I don't know about you, but I've got bottles in my bar that I've had for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
And they've still got some left in them.
You know, to my shame, I've had some bottles on my shelf that I've like, man, I'll drink that at a special occasion. And then I go to open it years later, and the cork just breaks or crumbles.
Right. I hate that. And there are other reasons, according to people who know about liquor, and the website liquor.com, which I recommend, is a very good one. Here's a few fast facts about the shelf life of liquor. First of all, unopened liquor of all kinds will generally keep indefinitely if it's stored properly. So store out of direct sunlight, of course, tightly sealed in a stable room temperature environment. Once opened, distilled spirits like whiskey and gin won't expire or become unsafe to consume, but they may start to taste a little off after 1 to 3 years. Liqueurs opened will usually last 6 months to 1 year. And vermouth and other wine-based spirits like Vino Amari should be refrigerated and consumed within 6 to 8 weeks. So this is why, and I think Chris Morris may have talked to us about this once when he was on, that why I gave up on trying to use vermouth in martinis, a little splash of vermouth, because it just didn't seem to taste that good. And he explained to me my vermouth was too old, and it was. I just had it. I bought it, I'd opened it, I used it, and you only use a little bit.
And then stick it on your shelf, and then it's not refrigerated, and it's sitting there way too long.
Exactly. So now what I do, by the way, for vermouth in martinis is my Specs has these olives that are pimento olives, nice-sized pimento olives, in vermouth, and they're in a sealed jar.
Brilliant.
And so what I do is I open up the jar, I use those for the martini, and then maybe just do a couple drops in the glass of the vermouth from the juice from there. Yeah. And we do martinis often enough that we'll use that up before it becomes bad. Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about this as the program continues. But distilled spirits and liquors are relatively stable products. I will admit, though, I've got a couple of whiskeys. They've got just a little bit left in the bottle, and I just kind of don't want to end them, so I'm saving them. And I really have probably had them for too long. Yeah. So this, and my wife will be thrilled to hear this because she gets really excited when I kill a bottle.
Is the bottle kill?
Because that creates more room in the bar. We're always, trying to figure out where to put things because I'll come home with something new or whatever. Like recently came home with this bottle of Don Camilo Tequila Anejo, which I'm really excited about trying this later on. But the factors to keep in mind, they say, if you want to maximize your enjoyment of your bottles at home, are light, heat, and oxygen. To combat those flavors, proper storage is crucial to extending the life of any bottle of alcohol, whether it is opened or unopened. Air is the culprit, basically. Yeah. And so that adds further credence to the fact that if I've only got a little bit of whiskey left in the bottom of the bottle, there's an awful lot of air.
There's an awful lot of air in that bottle.
Yeah. So it has.
I've gone through, and in the last just little bit, I've gone through and kind of, those have been there too long. Because I did the same thing. Don't want to end the bottle, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just move them. Move them on.
Yeah. So general shelf life rules, again, just to review. Unopened liquor, you're fine as long as you store it properly. Once it's open, distilled spirits like whiskey, gin, rum won't expire or become bad for you. They just simply will lose a little of their flavor. It'll be a little off after 1 to 3 years. Liqueurs, you got 6 months to a year, and vermouth and other wine-based spirits, 6 to 8 weeks. And I don't know about you, but if I open a bottle of red wine, don't drink it all. If I don't drink it the next day,
it's pretty much
it's pretty much done for me.
I mean, I'll taste it like in a couple days.
Use
I'll
it for
taste
cooking.
it and be like,
You use it for cooking.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, there's that. But anyway, that's the basics of it. You can find out more at liquor.com, which we recommend as a great website to peruse at your convenience anyway, because it's quite good. All right, we have more to taste here on the program. We have drinking news coming up here on the program, and we're going to tell you about some cigars to watch for coming up. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Ian, it looked like that can of Prairie Artisan Ales Lemon Slice had hypnotized you there for a moment. You were.
It's fascinating, the artwork on this.
Yeah. They always have it's very odd and interesting artwork, and it's always kind of small.
Lemon Slice is basically a roller skate.
Yeah.
A quad for those
because that's a slice. A slice is a roller skating term, right?
Right, and then it's got all these roller derby people like doing stuff on there. It's pretty fun.
Well, thought I'd tell you about some cigars to watch for while Ian is pouring the lemon slice. And so I had to search far and wide, but I have found a few things that I can report to you that do not involve AJ Fernandez. This one does, though, involve another giant of the cigar blending industry, Jose Pepin Garcia of My Father Cigars, and another one, Pete Johnson of Tatuaje.
Right.
They are celebrating 2 decades of a fruitful relationship with a quartet of limited edition and considerably expensive cigars called La Unión, which is Spanish for the Unión, or the Union.
Oh, I was going to say, sounds kind of like onion, but okay.
Yeah, no.
Onion.
Their working relationship began, which doesn't sound like a very good cigar, by the way. Their working relationship began back in 2003 when Pepin Garcia, who was born in Houston, immigrated to the United States and established his first cigar factory, El Rey de los Habanos, in Miami's Little Havana district. That same year, Garcia met Johnson at an event and from there became Garcia's first private label client, I should say. From that union, we've seen many popular cigar brands, and this one will likely become highly sought after as well. 4 blends were created, 2 by each cigar maker, so it's not a collaboration on 4, but they each did 2.
Nice.
Each is available in only 1 vitola, and they will be packaged in 2 different box sets that are distinguished by red or black exteriors. Inside each box is 1 blend by Johnson and 1 blend by Pepin Garcia. And each one has its own distinctive wrapper. So this is something you're going to want to look for. However, these cigars are going to set you back a pretty penny. $65 per cigar.
Ooh, per cigar.
Ouch.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Wow.
That's a lot. And I'll also tell you about Crowned Heads, the well-respected cigar company based out of Nashville. They're adding a darker iteration of the Mil Dias brand called Mil Dias Maduro. And Mil Dias translates to 1,000 days. It was first released back in 2020, which you remember was like the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was named after the amount of time that it allegedly took them to get the blend just right. So it took them 1,000 days, in other words. The new line's expected to begin shipping to retailers as we speak. It carries the Mil Dias name, but there's more to the new cigar than just a new cover leaf. The entire blend has changed. The original line's an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan binders and fillers from Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Peru. But this Maduro line is made using a dark Connecticut broadleaf wrapper atop an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper and all Nicaraguan fillers grown in Jalapa, Condega, and Ometepe. 3 sizes it will be available in, and they will be price ranged from $10.95 to $12.95.
I'm totally
each.
trying one of those.
Yeah. And remember Tiamo cigars? Altadas USA is attempting a comeback of this once popular brand. It kind of fell off in the last 20 years, and many shops don't even carry them anymore. They removed the hyphen, so instead of T-Amo, it's just T-Amo. And just a space between them. And the cigars are still blended in Mexico. And even though, even though the blend itself is all Mexican tobacco, the varietals have changed. And Rafael Nodal, who's the vice president of product capability for Altadas, says the wrapper is not the same as the original. This is a Habano seed grown in Mexico in the valley. The price is not the same as the original either. It's going to sell for $9.43 to $11.52 per cigar. So to me, this will be the challenge. Will people pay premium or super premium cigar prices for something that's named Tiamo.
Yeah, because Tiamo was a budget-friendly cigar.
Absolutely. So remains to be seen. We got just a moment left in this segment, but I wondered if you'd tasted the lemon slice.
No,
yet.
I haven't, but it smells lemony.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it sure does. I hope it's not the lemon pledge lemon and more like the lemon slice lemon. But
I absolutely love
Wow,
this.
this is amazing.
it really is.
I love this. This is like the best lemonade I've ever had.
Wow.
So you know how you get that feeling like right back here
little tingle.
when you like suck on a lemon wedge? I just got the exact
exactly
same
it. Yes.
response from this.
This is like when you get lemonade that's fresh squeezed and it's not super sweetened. It's like
Right.
just barely enough.
Yeah, hadn't had a whole bunch of sugar
This
dumped
is
into it.
fantastic.
It really is, and it just tastes. I mean, they call it lemon slice, and that is absolutely the right way to describe it because it tastes just like you took a slice of lemon and just started kind of sucking it. And,
Sour
and I
ale
like doing
with
that.
lemon zest, lemon juice, and vanilla. It is outstanding.
It's got the punch of a Sour Patch Kid.
What are these guys at Prairie Artisan Ales doing? They're out of their
this is
minds.
so good.
It really is. You think about that. That one that we had that was so incredible recently that you went out and bought more of.
The super pistache.
The super pistache. This is just as good, but in a very different way.
And it leaves your mouth just watering, wanting more.
We'll be back with hour two, as hopefully you want more too. It's Smoking and Toasting. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We are so glad to have you here for hour two of the program. We are coming to you from our studios in Houston, Texas, where next week, by the way, we will be joined by the brewmaster from the award-winning True Anomaly Brewing. When I say award-winning, they've been named Best Texas Brewery for the Texas Brewery of the Year for the second year in a row.
Running, yeah.
Yeah, very excited about having Michael on. He's a friend of the show already, but just to be able to have him on, drink some of his beers, it's going to be a fun show next week. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, very, very cool. Being a major NFL fan myself, it's the only. I mean, I'll watch basketball, watch baseball, but NFL, other than just my home team, is the only time I really like follow a sport. And so with it being in the off season now, it's kind of like Sunday withdrawals for me. I don't have those. I don't have those
Sundays
games
are
to
free.
watch.
What do I do with my Sunday?
So yeah, exactly.
You come over and mow my lawn.
Okay, I'll be right over. I have a good lawnmower cigar I can bring with me too.
There you go.
But one of the things that I've done is done some reading on the NFL and seeing how I think my favorite teams are going to do next year. And I stumbled across this one from the New York Post. It is an article titled, I'm going to read you the actual headline, "These are the drunkest fans in the NFL." And I have to say, I guessed totally wrong when I looked at the article. I'm
guessing
totally
Ohio,
wrong.
Cleveland.
Yeah, you would think, wouldn't you? I would even think, maybe Dallas, because like Dallas Cowboy fans are like completely out of their minds. And then I got, no, it'd be Philly. Because I lived in Philly, and people there are freaking nuts. They're just absolutely out of their mind.
That makes sense.
They drink a lot of Strub and Yingling there.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly.
Philly and Chicago makes sense.
And then I think, well, you know what? They drink a lot. Like when I lived in Boston, they drink a lot in Boston too, and they've got a lot of great breweries up there. And by the way, you go to those games and it's so freaking cold in the outdoor stadium, And then I thought, oh no, Buffalo, New York, the Buffalo Bills. That's got to be it, because you got to be nuts to go to any of their games after September because it's so freaking cold outside. Well, the drunkest fans in the NFL.
Is there a little map on there?
That's
hilarious. I love it.
The fans that seem to drink the most, number one on the list, never would have guessed this, the Tennessee Titans. No one would have guessed that. No one.
How do they judge this?
So
I mean, I don't know.
Is
that one of those states where you can buy liquor in the convenience store when you want?
I think it may be. It's been a long time since I've been to
Louisiana's
Tennessee.
like that,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
They did it, to answer your question, Terry, by charting the average blood alcohol content on game day. And according to Backtrack, BACTRACK, which posted these findings on X, the average blood alcohol content of a Tennessee Titans fan on game day was 0.93%. And that finishes them at the top.
Is this like people that get pulled over after the game?
The top. I don't know how they do this. I love lists, but I think some of the
Sometimes
some of the criteria may be a little low.
Sometimes they're slanted.
Rounding out the top 5, Tennessee Titans number 1, Pittsburgh Steelers number 2. Now I can I can kind of see that. Yeah. Indianapolis Colts number 3. Apparently, the Indianapolis Colts used to be really low on the list, but after Peyton Manning left and they've failed to replace him at quarterback, the drinking level has gone way up. The Atlanta Falcons are number 4, and at number 5, and I get this one, the New Orleans Saints. In fact, those guys probably should be number 1 because everything's bigger in Louisiana when you're talking about liquor.
Yeah.
The most sober fans, counting from the fifth most sober all the way down to the very bottom. Number 5, Los Angeles Chargers. Number 4, as we go down go down towards sobriety.
I thought California knew how to party.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Baltimore Ravens are 4th from the bottom, and I got to tell you, I've been to Baltimore Ravens games in their stadium, and I would dispute that just on visual evidence. But I digress. New York Giants are 3rd from the bottom. The Washington Commanders are 2nd from the bottom, and it's probably because they've just given up. There's no reason to go to the game.
There's no one showing up.
We can't even drink through this anymore.
And the most sober, and this shocked me, Kansas City Chiefs.
I was going to say, where did they fall?
The winners of the Super Bowl are the most sober fans.
Wow.
And I didn't get that at all because, their fans are pretty nuts too. I mean, if you are rooting for a team who's playing them and it's in Kansas City, your quarterback can't hear anything on third down. I mean, just like the place is just nuts.
Wow.
So apparently them being the lowest on the most drunken list has not been at all impacted by Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. So there's that. So anyway, I just thought it was an interesting list. I don't know that I agree with it, although I will say this photo of a Tennessee Titans fan at a game. Which camera should I show this to? So this photo of a Tennessee Titans fan at a game does kind of add some credence to them being at the top of the list. I'm just saying.
That guy started off that morning with, dude, it'd be cool.
You know what? That guy probably goes to every single one of those games fully decked out like that.
Hoping that he'll be recognized by the camera.
He has the makeup of Peter Criss or Paul Stanley in his bathroom to do that.
If he wants to be on the camera that much, he just needs to dress like Taylor Swift.
True.
They'll show him more than they will the game.
I will say, I mean, I am a fan, and I really do enjoy NFL football, but my fandom has limits to it. It's kind of like I'm also a big fan of Star Trek, right? But I've always described my fandom this way. I'll go to the convention, but I will not wear the pointed ears.
You're not going to speak Klingon?
That's where it stops. No Klingon was spoken at my wedding.
Are you a fan of the Galaxy Quest movie?
Oh, yeah. And there's by the way, there's a great documentary out about the Galaxy Quest movie.
I heard about that. I haven't watched it.
Really? Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I've read great things about it. So looking forward to trying that. I'll just put on my Vulcan ears and watch it in style. Yes. So I've told this story, I think, on the show before. But I was in Vegas back. I was staying at the Hilton back when they had a Star Trek themed part of their casino, and it was actually very cool. I enjoyed it. But they had a Star Trek ride, one of those motion simulator rides. It was very cool. And then dumped you out into the gift shop when you were done.
Of course it did.
So I went on the ride, as you would expect, and I came out in the gift shop, and there was a sign saying that the actor who played Tuvok, the Vulcan on Star Trek Voyager, was going to be playing that night in the bar there with his band. And the bar was named Quark's Bar after the bar in Deep Space Nine. And they had some Star Trek themed drinks and stuff. But other than that, it was a pretty normal bar with a little stage and a seating area. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then thought nothing of it until I came back to the casino that night and was headed back to the elevators, was walking through the Star Trek area, heard a band playing, and I thought, oh, let me just stick my head in and see if he's any good. And there he was, Tim Russ, the actor's name, played Tuvok on Star Trek Voyager. He was playing with a 3 or 4 piece jazz band. They were actually pretty good. I believe he was playing bass. They're actually kind of doing their thing. And I thought, oh, that's cool. He's actually a pretty good musician. And then I looked out at the audience. At least half of them in Klingon outfits and stuff, tapping along, nodding along. And I thought, oh, this poor bastard. I feel so bad. I mean, they probably practice. I mean, jazz is not easy, right?
Yeah, well,
they're probably practiced and gotten really proficient. So people will take him seriously as a musician. And the guy in the front row just watching him and cheering him on is
Klingon.
doing so in Klingon. Yeah. So anyway. Enough of that. Let's taste some tequila. Or have you already beaten me to it?
Keep tasting, you mean?
Yes. You'll notice, by the way, I didn't leave anything to chance.
No.
With the top of the bottle.
So that's very kind of you, because clearing the plastic off the top of this to make sure that there's no plastic cuts when I'm trying to peel it, and then clearing the neck of the bottle is essential, because then there's less spillage overall.
Right. Now we have paper towels here, but so far today,
but we haven't had to use
knock on wood, we haven't had to use it
because of the precautions that you took.
This could be a no paper towel show.
So
Don
talk to me,
Camilo,
Goose. What do you think?
So first off, the nose on this is peppery. It's agave, and it's vanilla, and it's delicious smelling.
Mm-hmm.
The bottle is awesome, by the way.
Yes.
I'm fascinated by it, because there's just, how sometimes when they're doing the glass, they let enough air in there to make tiny bubbles.
Right.
It looks like a constellation in there. It's pretty awesome.
Love that.
Then it's absolutely outrageous on the tongue. Today is the best day for drinks.
Yeah, it's been a good one, and I wasn't real sure about the lemon slice and the blood orange beer. I like the tequila a lot because I get tons of vanilla, and that is one of my favorite.
Tons of vanilla
one of my favorite notes.
And pepper.
I get the
on
pepper.
I get the vanilla too.
Yeah, I get the pepper.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
This makes me want to have an aroma to Cuba.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Something nice and big,
beefy,
cigar-wise.
big cigar. Yeah, to go with this.
That would be great.
It's so good. There's a little a raw cane sugar kind of feel to it.
There
as
is
well,
just a
towards
little
the
bit,
end of it.
but
And
it's
then
sort of counterbalanced by the pepper.
Right, and then the oak that lingers long afterwards is really nice.
Yeah, I am pretty impressed with this particular tequila. It's always so hard for me to read, but it says it's aged for at least 12 months in ex-bourbon barrels. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty good a pretty good combination for a good añejo tequila. But at least 12 months is for a tequila. That's a pretty long time, because tequila doesn't age normally nearly as long as some of the other spirits. So
on here it says gentle aromas of roasted agave and oak. The taste is very smooth, subtle. Chocolate and oak notes are dominant. I don't get a lot of chocolate for my palate, but
I get the oak
aftertaste is long and strong. I can go with that. Don Camilo is one of the best known flagship tequilas of Fabrica de Tequila Finos. It's good. It's delicious.
I do get a little chocolate in there. I do. It's around the middle of the palate, but the finish is where you get both pepper and the vanilla.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
think
what I appreciate
the chocolate
most.
thing that that you guys are tasting and they're talking about, I think I'm picking up as that kind of raw sugar kind of thing. It's really good though. It's very nice.
It really good. It's about a $60 bottle, if I recall. So it's not on the super premium side, but it's also not inexpensive. So, to me, anytime you venture above the $30 to $40 range, you can raise your expectations a little. And I think this tequila meets it. It's I don't like it as well as I like a Reserva de la Familia, but that's $130, $140 bottle. So at its price, I think it performs real well.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that the front and the back of the bottle both have a label.
Yeah,
they
it's kind of
do.
cool. You have a little less chance of getting confused. I think, as much as I like the bottle, and I agree with you, I think it's a fairly low key kind of bottle. Like it didn't necessarily
very austere
jump
kind of
out at
bottle.
me from the shelf. You know?
No, but like the little details with the little air bubbles in it is very fascinating to look at when you're looking at it up close.
And by the way,
It's not flashy.
I didn't spring for them, but they have an extra añejo that's more than $100 a bottle. I mean, I want to say it's like 111 or 115, something like that, which looked very interesting. But not having tried any Don Camilo, I thought, we're not going to spend $100 just yet.
Right.
We'll have to try some of their lesser expensive spirits, and then maybe we'll splurge at some point. But I'd say this one is a big thumbs up.
Yeah, big thumbs up.
I dig it. All right, we're going to keep sipping this while we take a break. We will be back only moments away, my friends, from drinking news. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back to Smoking and Toasting, or as we like to say, Smoking and Toasting, because that sounds cooler.
I love those things.
Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We're trying a lot of those things on the program. We have more to come. But you know what often happens to us here on the show is that our appetite is bigger than our stomachs, you could say, or our appetite for things we want to share with you is larger than the time that we have allotted for the show. So often I'll tell you, on today's show we're going to do this and this and this, and we only get to the first one.
Right.
So I want to rectify that wrong, because last week's show was all about bringing you these lists of that come out at the end of the year and the beginning of the year of different publications naming their cigars of the year. And Cigar Journal, which is a website I really like, they name in theirs, they specify the top 25 new cigars of 2023. So they aren't just ones that they reviewed in 2023, but ones that were new.
Yeah.
And I thought this list was interesting enough to give it a go. And there are several cigars on here. A number of them I have not tried, and they are going on my I'm looking for you list. And that is true of number 5. It is the Lionel Rare d'Or Robusto. It's their number 25 cigar. It looks absolutely delicious in the photo, and I've never seen it, so I got to find one of those. At number 24, Aganorsa Leaf Anniversario, Maduro, Gran Robusto. Love me some Aganorsa Leaf. At number 23 is the Artista Midnight Robusto. I have never seen this cigar in a store. And maybe you have it where you guys are, but I have never seen it. So Artista Midnight Robusto in at number 23. The Gurkha Ghost Connecticut Asura comes in at number 22.
Okay, the Ghost has been around for quite a while.
Right. Apparently it's this particular blend, the Connecticut Asura. They say it draws magnificently.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah. And it presents the fine sweetness of honey over a delicate cedar and earth flavors. They also say it delivers subtle pepper spiciness and the spice of nutmeg and cloves. And I'd be happy with it being a Gurkha if it just doesn't explode on you when you smoke it. So, at number 21, the Casa 1910 Soldadera Edición La Cornella, another cigar I am not at all familiar with. At number 20 is the K by Karen Berger, 25th anniversary by AJ Fernandez Toro. This is a great looking cigar. I've read about this cigar. I've not smoked one of these, but certainly I would try it, and then I would review it, and you guys would go, AJ, again? Seriously? You're seriously doing that? A lot of cigars on this list, though, that I've not had. Number 19, the Confidencial, that's with 2 A's, 56, it's a Grand Toro. The Chateau Diadem Convicción Robusto at number 18, haven't had that. The Villager 1888 Nicaragua Coronita at number 17. I have not had that Villager. And then United Cigars Maduro Toro, which United Cigars, their logo on the band looks like a Captain America shield from the old school cap. The Christoph Signature Series 2023 Enter Tobacco exclusive Toro is number 15. The Aladino Sumatra limited edition Toro is number 14. At 13 is the Accomplice 10th anniversary de Siene. At number 12 is the Flor de Selva Maduro Toro. Again, so many cigars.
A bunch of these I don't know
I've never, not only never smoked, but never even seen. The West Tampa Tobacco Company White Toro is number 11 on their list. The Aladios Original Blend Toro is number 10. That's pretty high
I've
for
tried that one,
an Aladios. The Florida Copan Gran Reserva 20 Aniversario Rosas is number 9 on the list. At 8, Oscar Valadares 10th Anniversary Toro. I think you've smoked that one, haven't you?
Yes.
I think you've reviewed it.
I mean, if it says Oscar Valadares, you know I'm going to buy it.
At number 7, here's a cigar I've had, the A.J. Fernandez New World Dorado Robusto.
Yes.
And it does deserve to be on this list. It was released last year, and it's fantastic. Number 6, the Davidoff Year of the Dragon Double Corona. Number 5, the Plasencia Almafuerte Eduardo.
So
yes, great cigar. At number 4, the Rocky Patel Disciple
So good.
Robusto, a fantastic cigar. At 3, the Liga Privada Unico Siri Year of the Rabbit. At number 2, the J.C. Newman El Baton Bellicoso, and their number 1 cigar, the E.P. Carrillo Allegiance Confidant.
Allegiance is so
Yeah,
good.
so all right, we made it through the list. Now I didn't leave you hanging. Look at cigarjournal.com where you'll find this list and a whole bunch of cigars I bet you'll want to try that you haven't had. We'll be right back at Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We certainly are enjoying
this tequila.
some fine spirit here, aren't we, sir? This is wonderful. It really is. Like, this is maybe one of my favorites of the tequilas we've had recently on the show. And, of course, with me being such a tequila
it's
fan, we do
good.
have them from time to time. But yes,
It's good.
just a little of that puts me right in the mood for drinking news.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers all. Thanks to Keegan Lucas, our guest cater to the vet commentator today. Well, welcome to Drinking News number 369. Now, Drinking News, as those of you who are not quite as familiar with our show may not know, is a portion of the show where we bring you a story that may or may not be about drinking. Often it is, but not always. But it is always a story that's best enjoyed if you've been drinking. And that will really help today because today's Drinking News comes with a content warning. We are going to report a criminal act by a very strange man that is, for lack of a gentler way to put it, absolutely disgusting.
No.
Now,
Disgustingly criminal acts?
I'm a big believer in personal freedoms. And that goes all the way to kinky stuff in the bedroom, if that's what you're into. I mean, if you're a person who doesn't get turned on unless your partner wears a mascot costume and does the Macarena, as far as I'm concerned, that's your business, right? I certainly don't want to see it. But if that's what churns your butter, then
It's
more
not
power
a,
to
It's
you.
not a mascot costume. It's a luchador outfit.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for clarifying. But people,
Sometimes a man must wear stretchy pants.
keep that wacky stuff to yourself. We don't need to know that you're turned on by turtles, which is called chelanophilia,
Why is there a name
What?
for that?
or by giant teddy bears, which is Ursus agalmatophilia, or
Why is it
that
such
you,
a difficult name?
or that you have climacophilia, which means you get turned on by watching someone fall down a flight of stairs.
How do you even know that about yourself?
Do it again.
As long as you keep
please.
that stuff to yourself,
That was hot.
in
Are you
private.
okay? That was hot.
Listen, as long as you keep that stuff to yourself in private with a consenting and apparently in some cases rather clumsy adult, it's all good. But if your kink involves doing something that leaves evidence behind to intentionally gross out other people, then we are going to have a problem.
Oh, yeah. No bueno.
And that is most definitely the case with our story today. It's the tale of a Texas man. Do we have Texas man theme?
Texas. Man.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got you. A little more
Put a little swing
country
to it.
and western there. Yeah. Our Texas man, who I'm stunned to report, is uncomfortably close to where both Ian and I live.
Oh, no.
Yep. His name is Mitchell Cooper Vest. He's 60 years old. He's 6'6" and 250 pounds. And he's known
That's a big old country boy.
for wearing a kilt. Now, look, if wearing a kilt makes you happy, or if you're Scottish and you consider it a part of your heritage, knock yourself out. I mean,
Breezy.
please wear something underneath the skirt in case of a strong wind. But again, if that's your thing, then you do you, okay? The problem with our Texas man is that he doesn't just wear the kilt. He apparently wears it to antique stores in the nearby community of Spring, Texas,
Oh, no.
and proceeds to do something pretty disgusting. Now, it's not what you're probably thinking.
Tries out the tea kettles.
He doesn't expose himself exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But
It's not exactly exposing yourself.
according to police, Mr. Vest has the habit of going into shops, taking various items from the shelf, and shoving them up his rectum.
Oh.
Oh, I don't know
But-
what to say with that.
It gets even worse.
How?
After he's done that, I'll tell you how. Because after he's done that, he returns the items to the shelf. Cops say that the Texas man.
It seems like this should end up in the emergency room at some point.
Yeah. Cops say that the Texas man entered the Antique Gallery of Houston, which is not in Houston, it's in Spring, and placed a makeup brush and a restoration hardware piece, that is in quotes, by the way, restoration hardware piece, into his anus before returning the merchandise,
At a coffee table.
valued at $130, to its original place on the shelf.
Slow down, Turbo. The real question is, how do you? I was just trying to wrap my head around this. How do you even find out that this is what you like to do?
Yeah.
You
That's a
know,
good question.
exploration, just trying out different
Yeah, that's a
things.
good
Like,
question.
if you figure out, like, you know, if you saw someone fall down the stairs, you're like, oh, suddenly I'm a little turned on. I guess there's a way that you can find that out about yourself, I guess. But how does this one, like, how do you?
Did y'all ever see the History of the World movie? History of the World?
Brooks?
But yeah,
Yeah,
there was
sure.
the King Caesar. It was Dom DeLuise, and everything he would say, "Wash this." It would just came out of his butt. Wash this.
Well, our man apparently our Texas man apparently didn't only not wash these things. He returned them to the shelf. And then he apparently showed up at the Curiosity Shop, which is located inside an antiques mall.
Appropriate.
The shop's owner, Alicia Osborne, told police, and by the way, no relation to Ozzy, told police that Vest took an antique bottle opener and a tobacco tent can, total value $74, and put them up his butt under his green kilt before also returning those items.
These sound like
to
they
the
could be
shelf.
sharp too.
In both instances, the
Somebody's
merchandise.
watching him. How weird is that?
In both instances, the merchandise that was, let's just say, handled by Vest had to be thrown away because. Well, I'll just let you guys fill in the blank on that part yourself.
Or at least steeply discounted.
The kilt-wearing Texas man was arrested and charged for those incidents earlier this month. This is all true, by the way, and could be facing jail time for his insertion infractions.
Slightly used,
His-
95% off.
Backdoor shenanigans.
And by the way, he's not just some homeless dude in a skirt that wandered in off the street. Vest reportedly owns a home that's worth more than $500,000 in a cushy nearby neighborhood called the Woodlands. So, the life lesson from our story today appears to be
Wow.
that if you're in an antique shop in a Houston suburb and you see a guy in a kilt shopping around, maybe don't touch anything on the shelves. Or at the very least, wear gloves, for God's sake.
Don't follow that guy.
Now, stories like this one, I understand, can really affect you. In my case in particular, I've actually been once again inspired to put my feelings into verse.
I just have to tell you, this story kind of makes my brown eye blue.
That's a very good one, and I didn't
Thank
come
you,
up with that one
Cheech.
at all.
Thank you, Cheech.
Actually, equal thanks to Cheech and to what was her name with the super long hair, the country singer.
Linda Ronstadt. No, Rose.
Don't make my brown eyes blue. It wasn't Jesse Coulter.
Was
it was
Crystal Gale?
Crystal Gale. That's
Thank
right.
you. She had the super long hair.
All
remember?
I can hear is Will Ferrell. What's my Crystal Gale T-shirt?
Well, stories like this one can really affect you, and in my case in particular, I have actually been inspired to put my feelings into verse. And I know you will probably live a full and happy life without ever knowing what I have written. But I feel compelled to share this poem that I've written with you, if you'll indulge me for just a moment. I hope that it moves you the way that it moved me. And it goes a little something like this. A Texas man now is infamous. We are sickened, and how could you blame us? With his strange fetish fail, if he's now sent to jail, he'll find more than a brush in his anus.
That definitely moved me.
Yeah.
I definitely had some sort of movement, I guess.
Yes.
Some sort of movement.
Reporting live from Old Town Spring, where there's no way.
Somewhere deep inside, something was
No
moved.
way I'm touching that antique miniature rolling pin I just saw. My name is Cruz.
That's
and
way too obvious.
That, my friends, is your...
Drinking news. Drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
The only problem with a story like that is how do you follow it up next week?
You know, I think the real thing is that, you know, usually drinking news is you know, something crazy that happens, and it's usually far away. It's in Florida, it's in California. This was
that's a
way
little
too close to home.
Yeah,
Way
yeah.
too close to
We
home for
just
what was
did
happening.
A show in spring.
Yes,
Texas
I
a
know.
month ago.
Way too close.
And I believe we were only steps from an antique store.
Yes.
Steps from an
Yes.
antique store, yes.
Yeah. So, oh man, that was a fun show, and
He could have been analyzing the situation while we were there.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I'm not at all interested in his analysis. So, wow. All right, so Ian, we are here with our final beer of the show. It is from Sierra Nevada. It is their Bigfoot Barleywine-Style Ale 2024. They do a different one of these every year. Mm-hmm. And I'm already worried because I'm afraid this is not going to live up to your barley wine standards. But this is not a barley wine in a, $30 or $40 or $50 single bottle. This is a barley wine that you can buy a six-pack of.
This is a Barleywine-Style ale.
Mm-hmm. So considering that you can buy a six-pack of this for, $13 or something, give me your thoughts.
I'm not a big fan of it.
Really?
It's way too hoppy. Hey, come on. I want a barley wine to be sticky and ridiculous. This is way too hoppy.
All right, so
there's no reason for that, man.
let me just ask you
That's
this.
That's like finding a hair in the potato salad or something.
So let me ask you this, though, in defense of Sierra Nevada. Suppose the word barley wine did not appear on this, and it was just a 2024 Bigfoot ale. Would you have a different feeling about it if you weren't expecting?
So it's so bitter.
Yes.
It's big and it's bitter, and it's not my favorite style of thing.
But it's way bitter.
It is pretty bitter.
Way
It's
bitter.
pretty bitter, and I hate that they put barley wine on it because, well, I guess it's an American style barley wine, but it's just.
Well, you've been pretty clear on the show before that you really don't prefer the American style barley wine. Has a tendency to be more carbonated. It has a tendency to be more hopped, and a little less with just the the barley wines that you like are really sticky, and this
more
is not
traditional, yeah,
not describable as sticky in the least. But that said, I don't think it's bad.
It's harsh.
Well, it is bitter, but so's a good ESB.
Yes, but that's a different kind of bitter. An ESB does not leave that resinous, piney.
So you're saying this is bitter, kind of like when your girlfriend cheats on you, bitter.
This is like when you walk in the room, you're like, I mean, two of you? because it's just unexpected. Like, it says barley wine, so it's like when you go to pick up your Dr. Pepper and it's a Sprite, and just like, what is going on here?
Well, we've had some very interesting beers today, if you think about it. The Moro Pilsner with blood orange was very interesting Pilsner. We had the lemon slice, the sour ale with lemon zest from Prairie Artisan Ales. It was really, really kind of knocked us all for a loop a little bit. Just
I liked that.
How much it was like a lemon slice. But this one doesn't float your boat. Huh?
I don't like this one.
All right, that's fair enough. I was all excited to bring you barley wine today.
I love barley wines, but not that's way too American style, Barleywine-Style.
Too much style?
Too much.
What's the best?
What does it say here?
I'll put you on the spot. What's the best barley wine you've ever had?
So one of my favorites that I used to get all the time was made by Flying Dog. They used to make one called Horn Dog barley wine.
And Flying Dog's filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, and they're gone, and their barley wine's gone. I mean, but that's just an example. You could buy it in a 4-pack all day long years ago, and then it evaporated. Just not a popular style, but I just think this is it's got a lot of malt to it, but the hop intensity is just it's through the roof, and it's too much, I think, for the style of beer. It's too much for my palate. I'm not really happy with it.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't mind huge hop intensity. I like stone ales and things like that. But the whole beer profile is different. This to me tastes like a mismatch.
And you feel like you'd have thought that even if it didn't say barley wine on the bottle.
Yes, if you handed me this beer and I had no idea what it was, I would say it tastes like Bigfoot.
Okay. Well, that would have been accurate because Bigfoot. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back to wrap up the show. I'm still going to keep drinking this. I don't think it's that bad.
I was trying. I'm putting mine down.
Doesn't sound like a ringing endorsement, by the way.
You know what I do like though?
Yeah. That tequila.
This
All
tequila.
Right, then let's have some more of that, and we'll be right back to say goodbye.
Tequila.
It's Smoking and Toasting. I want to say that's just wrong.
This old 1876 pencil smells like ass.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 1876 pencil? What are you talking about? Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. So what have we learned on today's show? Well, we've learned that Ian does not like American barley wines.
Don't be sad.
Yeah.
Because 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, well, there you go. We've learned that the Prairie Artisan Ales lemon slice is a uniquely wonderful,
It's really, really bizarrely
wonderful
good.
beer. And we certainly have learned that this Don Camilo tequila is a delicious and worthwhile
It is both
endeavor.
drinkable and redrinkable.
And then, of course, we've learned that one should take care when shopping for antiques in suburbs of Houston, Texas.
Such a bizarrely specific kink.
Yeah. Well, I guess most. And what's funny is that there seem to be names for all of these very specific. Turned On by Turtles, really? There's a name for that?
That's a weird one.
Yeah. And what is it about turtles exactly? Right? It can't be their speed, grace, and elegance.
I don't know.
I don't know. But as we want to learn to be inclusive and accept people no matter what your kinks are, just don't practice them in front of us, and particularly don't return those items to the shelf.
Yeah, you
That's
need
all
to
I'm
own
saying.
your own antiques, buddy.
Yeah, right.
At your
exactly.
own house.
Yeah, and then you can do whatever you like with them. That's all I'm saying.
Unfortunately, I'm willing to bet that the public side of that is probably a part of that particular kink.
Mm-hmm.
And
Unfortunately.
the danger of being caught.
Unfortunately.
Oh, by
yes.
the way, he got caught.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a good thing.
Yes, that is a good thing. It shows that at least at times our justice system actually works.
And can you imagine being the officers that had to go there and it'd be like, hey, you know what? I tell you what, I'm going to arrest him and you grab all the evidence.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like yep. That's like, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it, right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. This drinking news story may have lingered into the next segment longer than any we've ever done before, and I don't know that that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Remnants of the last segment still showing up in this segment, but
Have to flush twice.
Yes.
we have
This one
learned
will
some.
go down in the annals of drinking news history as one of the darkest and deepest stories.
Is it a good show if you crack yourself up a lot during the show? Is that a barometer by which we can measure whether it was a good show or not? Guys, I want to
ST at rfcmedia.com.
Yeah, SNT at rfcmedia.com. If you'd like to comment on this, we'd love to hear from you. And if you've ever shopped at an antique store in Spring, Texas, and found something suspicious, we'd like to know that as well. So that's just how we are. You realize I have to come up with
piece of corn on this one.
I have to come up with a drinking news story to top
Mr.
that one next week. How are you going to? How are we going to do that exactly?
Well, good luck. That's on you.
I think our new intro for drinking news is going to be howdy ho.
Sometimes he's nutty, sometimes he's corny. He can be brown or greenish brown.
You know, as grown-ups, potty humor is just not supposed to be as funny, right?
Not supposed to be.
Not
That is the
supposed
key
to be.
phrase. That is the key phrase. So I've noticed, by the way, that the drinking news stories that seem to get the largest response have a tendency to veer into this territory. You know?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
I have more puns to go, but I'm gonna leave them.
Why do you like smoking and toasting? Is it the insightful cigar reviews? Is it their way that they break down the notes and the different flavors in the beer and in the tequila? And, no,
Butt stories.
it's butt stories. It's basically just
Yep.
butt stories. So this shows us how far we've come and how far we've totally not gone. That's all I'm saying to you. So.
All right. Sorry for falling into that, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think we're allowed every once in a while, and this would be one of those extreme situations, if you know what I'm saying. Thank you to everybody for listening to the show and being a part of it for this week. Thanks to Adam in the Sky, our producer, to Terry, our engineering producer in the studio, to my co-host Ian. My name is Cruz. Coming up next week, as we mentioned, Michael Duckworth of the award-winning True Anomaly Brewing Company will be here. He will bring his beers. I'm already excited because he's bringing True Anomaly beers because, dude, I don't know if they've ever made one that wasn't
make
outstanding.
great beers,
They really
yes.
do, and that's how you get an award like Texas Brewery of the Year 2 years in a row, and they deserve it. So we're very excited about that, and we'll see you all here next week as we'll have more spirits as well, more cigar news and reviews, and of course more drinking news. Have a great week, my
Cheers,
friends,
y'all.
and as we like to say, cheers y'all.
Yeah, you never listen to what anybody else says. Such a stubborn one.